Hello my friends, today I'll show you how to make a melodic future bounce drop like MESTO in FL Studio 20. Guys, I recently released my first Future House sample pack and it has 275 royalty-free samples, 130 presets for Serum and Synth 1, and 5 professional Future House FLPs. The link is in the description. Alright gentlemen, let's start off by making some emotional chords. To make them more emotional, we're gonna add these notes. Now let's chop up the chords and make a cool rhythm for the drop. Now that we have some chords and rhythm, we can make a melody on top. Alright guys, we'll start by creating the lead. Let's start with this Synth 1 layer. Now, let's add some more layers. To make the melody a bit more emotional, I added a layer playing these harmony notes. When we're done with the layering, we can add some mixing effects to make the lead more powerful. I started off with some reverb, then some EQ, distortion with fruity fast dist, a second EQ, soundizer, more distortion with camel crusher, some OTT, and a final EQ. This is the lead without the mixing effects. And this is with. Sounds a lot bigger. To make the lead more unique, I added this pitch automation. Now my good men, let's create a fat bass line. We start off with this round Serum layer. Now let's add some more layers. Alright guys, let's make it more powerful with some mixing effects. We'll start with this EQ, then some OTT, distortion with camel crusher, a second EQ, more distortion using fruity fast dist, soundizer, and a third and final EQ. This is the bass without the mixing effects. And this is with. I added this volume automation and this pitch automation for the bass. Guys, let's add a couple of stabs on top of the bass. Alright, let's create some nice chords. We'll start with this basic saw layer from Serum. Now let's add some more layers to make them bigger. I also added a chord fill in this break, like MESTO does in a lot of his songs. Alright guys, now onto the mixing. When mixing the chords, it's important to add a crap ton of distortion. The goal is to use the chords to make the bass and lead more powerful, without it taking up too much space in the mix. That's why we will distort the crap out of it. We'll start off with a fruity stereo shaper to make the chords wider, then an EQ, some compression with OTT, distortion using fruity fast dist, EQ, soundizer, some more distortion with camel crusher, and a final EQ. This is the chords without the mixing effects. And this is with. As you can hear, they don't sound that clean on their own, but that's not the point. When played together with the bass, as you can hear, they add a lot of fullness and power. Guys, guess what we're gonna make now? You guessed right, we're gonna add some frickin' harmony chords. As always, it's just this in its saw wave from Synth 1, playing these notes, while being controlled by this cutoff filter automation. This is what they sound like with the bass and chords. As you can hear, they add a lot of emotion to the drop. Now we need to create a nice drum pattern that complements the other layers of the drop. Guys, I also added this reverse lead shot, which is controlled by this volume automation. And this whistle layer on top of the lead. Now guys, we're finally done, but before we check out the final result, I would really appreciate it if you checked out my new sample pack. The link is in the description. Alright guys, here we go. Alright guys, if you liked the video, please be sure to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.